Hello and welcome to From the Book Nook. I'm Anne.
And I'm Greg. We're here to chat about books that move us and make us think.
Expect honest reviews, lively discussions, and maybe a laugh or two.
We can't wait to share our thoughts with you.
Let's get started.
All right, so we're diving deep today into something that feels, well, pretty crucial right now, honestly, civility.
Yeah, couldn't be more relevant.
Right, we're looking at the call for civility. The full title's a mouthful. It's Call for Civility. Together, we can accomplish anything. Very optimistic, right? And it's by Ross G. Kenyon. And what's really interesting is that Kenyon, he doesn't just stop at be polite. You know, he really digs into how powerful, just like respectful dialogue can be, especially now when it feels like everyone's just talking over each other all the time.
Yeah, it's like we've forgotten how to actually listen.
Exactly. And that's where Kenyon comes in. The main thing he argues, and I found this fascinating, is that like truly listening to someone, even when you totally disagree with them, can actually be the key to like unlocking solutions that you never would have thought of otherwise.
It's like that aha moment you get when you actually stop and hear what the other person is saying.
Right. And Kenyon, he argues that incivility, it doesn't just like shut down conversations. It actually blocks us from finding common ground and like actually moving forward on anything.
Makes sense. If you're not listening, you're not going to find any sort of middle ground.
Exactly. And he has all these great examples in the book, like there's this one story he tells about a neighborhood feud that started, get this, over a misplaced garbage can.
A garbage can.
I know, right? Sounds ridiculous. But the way he breaks it down, you realize that the garbage can was just like the tip of the iceberg.
Well, you know.
The real issue was that there was just this complete lack of listening and empathy between the neighbors. And you can almost see, like picturing it, how things could have gone so differently if they'd just taken a second to actually hear each other out.
Oh, absolutely. It's like they were so focused on being right that they missed the chance to actually resolve the issue.
Totally. And it's a great example of how this isn't just some abstract concept, right? Like this incivility thing, it plays out in all our everyday lives, from like family arguments to those, those online debates that go on forever.
Well, tell me about it. My social media feeds are a battleground sometimes.
Right. But what I think Kenyon really drives home is that civility isn't just about being nice. It's about creating a space where real dialogue and actual progress can happen.
It's about recognizing that even though we might have different opinions, we can still have a productive and respectful conversation.
Exactly. And that actually leads into another like huge point Kenyon makes, the power of civility to bridge divides. It's like he's saying, look, you don't have to agree with someone to have a productive conversation. But how do we actually do that, Especially when we're dealing with those really, like, those hot button issues that just seem to set everyone off.
Right. How do you stay civil when you feel like the other person is just so wrong? Well, Kenyon offers some really practical strategies for, like, bridging those divides, and they totally apply whether you're, dealing with a tense family dinner or you're in a heated online discussion, whatever.
So it's like universal advice.
Pretty much. One of the most powerful strategies, and this one really stuck with me, is the idea of focusing on shared goals. Instead of getting stuck in that us versus them mindset, Kenyon encourages us to try and find that common ground, that shared desire that everyone can get behind. It might be something as basic as wanting a safe community or a thriving economy. Whatever it is, it's something you both can agree on.
Oh, that's so helpful. It's like it shifts the focus from I'm right, you're wrong to okay, we both want this, so how do we work together to get there?
Exactly. It just feels way less combative,
So much less.
And when you approach a conversation from that perspective, it naturally creates more empathy and understanding because you're working together instead of against each other.
Right. Now, something that really hit home for me when I was reading Kenyon was his emphasis on like approaching these conversations with humility and an openness to like learn.
Yeah, I think that's key.
And he even has this one line, it really stuck with me. It says, assume good intentions until proven otherwise.
Ooh, I like that.
Right. It's like he's reminding us that everyone has their own story, their own experiences that have shaped their perspective. We can't just assume the worst about people.
It's so easy to do, though, especially these days, right? When everything feels so polarized.
Oh, totally. But like starting from a place of assuming good intentions can really change the whole tone of the conversation. Instead of attacking the person, you're engaging with their ideas.
Yeah, and even if you don't end up agreeing, at least you've created a space where you can understand where they're coming from.
Right. It's about understanding, not necessarily agreeing.
Exactly. And honestly, that's where I think the real magic of this whole respectful dialogue thing comes in. When we go into conversations with genuine curiosity, asking questions instead of just waiting to make our own point.
You're actually open to learning something, do you?
Exactly. We open ourselves up to not only understanding the other person, but also maybe even changing our own minds.
Wow, yeah, I hadn't even thought about that.
It can be powerful.
It's like that saying, seek first to understand, then to be understood.
Perfect way to put it.
But let's be honest, that can be super challenging,
Huh.
especially when emotions are running high. Like, how do you stay calm and open-minded when you feel like you're about to, you know,
Explode.
pretty much?
Yeah, no, I get it. Kenyon acknowledges that. He says civility isn't about suppressing our emotions. It's more about channeling them in a way that lets us still have a productive dialogue. And he even gives some specific techniques for dealing with those heated moments, like taking a pause, breathing deeply, choosing our words super carefully.
It's so important, those little things.
Right, taking that moment to just center yourself can make all the difference.
And what I appreciate about Kenyon is he doesn't just leave us with these, big ideas, He gives us concrete, actionable steps that we can take to be more civil in our daily lives.
Yeah.
It's not about some grand gesture. It's about making small, consistent choices.
Exactly. It's the little things that add up over time.
Right. And one of the things he really emphasizes is the power of simply acknowledging someone's point of view, even if you don't agree with it at all.
Yeah, just letting them know you hear them.
Exactly. It could be as simple as saying, I hear what you're saying, or I understand why you feel that way.
Just validating their feelings, basically.
Right. And it's not about conceding defeat or anything. It's just about recognizing the other person's humanity.
And acknowledging that their perspective is valid, even if you don't share it.
Yes. And what really strikes me is how much those small acts can actually have a ripple effect. Think about it. If you're making an effort to be more civil in your own conversations, you're not just creating a more positive experience for yourself, you're also modeling that behavior for other people.
It's contagious in a good way.
Totally.
And who knows, maybe you'll even inspire someone else to take a breath, choose their words carefully, and approach a conversation with a bit more understanding.
Yeah. It's like paying it forward, but with civility.
Exactly.
So, to wrap up our deep dive into Kenyon's The Call for Civility, I think it's super clear that respectful dialogue, it's not just about good manners, it's a powerful tool for, breaking those divides, building understanding, and ultimately creating a more civil and productive society. And it all starts with small, intentional choices, like assuming good intentions, listening with empathy, and focusing on those shared goals.
It's about remembering that we're all in this together, even when we disagree.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And to leave you with something to think about, here's a question. What's one small act of civility that you can commit to today? How can you, in your own way, contribute to a more respectful and productive dialogue in your own little corner of the world?
Something to ponder, for sure.
Definitely. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Hopefully it's given you some, concrete takeaways and maybe even inspired you to go out and make the world a little more civil, one conversation at a time.
One conversation at a time.
Exactly. Well, that's a wrap for this episode of From the Book Nook.
Thanks so much for joining us. We love having you here in our cozy little corner of the book world.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.
And we'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts and book recommendations in the comments.
It really helps us connect with more book lovers like you.
And we'll meet you right back here in the Nook.
Until next time, keep turning those pages.
Happy reading.
Happy reading.